What you are about to hear might just keep you up tonight. Welcome to Hauntcore Vault. I live in a slightly rural spot. One night, after about midnight, I hear banging on my door. I thought it was my boyfriend attempting a booty call, as he is apt to do. When I got to the door, I could see through the small glass window, but instead of my boyfriend, I saw the side of an unfamiliar bearded face. He didn't see me, and I backed away from the door. My house was in a cellular dead zone, so I knew my cell was useless. I grabbed the landline next to my bed to call 911, but the line was dead. It was just like a horror movie where the killer cuts the phone line. Meanwhile, the guy was still pounding away and slurring, "Let me in!" I grabbed the biggest chef knife I own, which is pretty fucking big, and locked myself in the bathroom. I stood on the edge of the tub behind the shower curtain, figuring I might have a chance if I jumped on him from above and stabbed him between the neck and shoulder when he tried to bust down the door. I was terrified, but also pleased with my plan, and waited. He started working his way around the outside of the house. I could hear him sliding his hands along the siding and banging his fist against the walls. For a split second, I reveled in my surprisingly badass plan. Then I realized the sabotaged phone hadn't been charged in days. Maybe one of the other handsets still worked. I have never felt more fear than the moment I climbed down from my hiding spot, unlocked the bathroom door, and went in search of a second handset, all while a madman was moving around the outside of my house, violently trying to unlock every door and window. I found a phone, and it worked. I dialed 911, but the closest officer was over 15 minutes away. I was told to stay on the line, but lock myself in the bathroom again. That was the longest 15 minutes of my life. When police arrived, they had me identify a cuffed, scruffy, drunk-off-his-ass, dirty hippie kid. Apparently, there had been a party down the road. He got disoriented and thought my house was his friend's house. He was trying to get back inside the party for 20 minutes of pure terror. So, keep your fucking phones charged, people.
My wife and I recently moved out of a home that I can only describe as fucked up. The house caused so much anger and hatred. Whatever entity resides in the home is either menacing or pure evil. Even as soon as my wife moved into the home when she was a child, she told me a story of when her and her little brother were playing one night in his room. They were playing with a leapfrog-type device. She described in detail about how she was showing her brother how to use it, and it began to act strange. Strange sounds came out of it, and then a man's voice began screaming from it. She said it was saying something about a list, something about making mistakes, screaming and cursing until she turned it off. So let's fast forward some. I met my wife a few years ago, and needless to say, she got knocked up. We're a condom, kids. Anyway, we decided that since it was the logical thing to do, I would move in with her. Sweet, no problem. At the time, I worked the night shift, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. This will come up later. After a few weeks of moving in, I noticed something strange about the house. The upstairs where we lived seemed menacing in a way, like someone was in the other room waiting for you. At first, I brushed it off as just being nervous, new house, new life kind of thing. I also thought it was from the pretty much steady insomnia work was causing me. As time went on, I began noticing more and more. Whenever the house should have been dead silent, things would happen. Footsteps up and down the hallways, knocks on doors, and sometimes I would swear I heard whispers. Being an avid believer in spirits, I wasn't particularly afraid until things started getting dark. One morning, as I was lying in bed, watching Netflix and hoping to fall asleep, I heard a rustling from the closet. It was just light enough in the room that you could make everything out. I saw nothing and thought maybe it was just the fan. Something moved out of the corner of my eye, and as I looked at the closet, a dark ball moved from the closet to the door. It was about the size of a softball and moved about as fast as a person could to the door. Later into the week, my wife had gotten into the bad habit of sleeping with the closet light on. I blame myself for that one. Should have kept my mouth shut. So we're lying there, talking about baby stuff, women, and I noticed the curtain that covered the closet opening move. My wife was curled into me, facing my chest, and I was staring at the closet. As I kept watching, I saw what I can only describe as a tiny mist-like figure, not like white mist, but slightly darker than the rest of the background, move out from the closet. It was about 3 feet tall and vanished as quick as it appeared. As soon as I began telling my wife what had happened, she had a sharp pinch on her back. She didn't cry out or scream. She calmly turned around and shouted, "Get the fuck out and leave us the fuck alone!" Too bad it didn't work. Now let's fast forward. You're probably wondering what else happened. Well, small stuff here and there for a while. Footsteps were regular. And I know some of you are probably saying, "It's the house settling, jackass!" I would agree. But not only did the footsteps stretch out the entire length of the 20-foot hallway, they sometimes were fast. And the knocks on the doors were very rhythmic. You know, like when you knock on a friend's door when they're home or something. So let's get to scary stuff. After this recent Christmas, things began to spark up to a new level. One day, I was sitting on my computer, and my wife came into the room asking me what I needed from the store. The computer room was directly across from the bathroom. Our daughter's door was to the immediate left of that, and the stairs were to the right. I began telling my wife what I wanted when she looked out the door and turned, well, ghost white. Her eyes got big and her mouth dropped. She slowly turned toward me. I just saw a man walk into Eliana's room. She begins describing what it looked like. It was about 6 feet tall, black, and only slightly translucent. While she's describing this, I walk out into the hallway and go into my daughter's room. Have you ever walked into a freezer, like the ones Walmart stocks ice cream in? That immediate chill is what I felt when I walked in there. There was nothing, of course, but as soon as we began walking out, a set of metal bed frames we had laying against the wall, for over a year, I might add, slid down and fell to the floor. My wife turned back into the room and told whatever it was to get the fuck out of our home. But it didn't, of course. Come January, things really picked up before we moved out. The power got knocked out during a sudden storm, and we were left in the dark for a night. My wife at this point wanted nothing to do with the home at this point, and wanted to stay at her dad's house. So we began packing her things for the night. I went downstairs and got my daughter loaded up in the car, and as I started walking back in, my wife shot out the door nearly in tears. I asked her what was wrong, and she only said simply, "I don't want to talk. Close the door. Let's go." The upstairs to the home is pitch fucking black, even on the brightest day, due to the layout. So when the power's off during an overcast, you might as well be underground. My wife was in our room gathering her makeup and things with only a flashlight. As she was loading things into her bag, she heard someone walk from the stairs down the hallway and right up against her back. She assumed it was me, but when she turned around, she saw nothing but black. Not like darkness black. Imagine someone holding a black sheet in front of you. Something like that. Even on our moving out day, things were happening upstairs. It was the worst I've personally ever felt it, just dread and sorrow. My wife once again had something walk up on her and heard knocks on the bedroom door while she was packing. We've gone back a few times to get a thing or two since we left in February. Every time, it's terrifying walking up the stairs. But I feel as if I should end this on a high note. We moved into a brand new home, and it is a completely different experience here. It has helped our relationship and has taken a huge burden off of us.
I was lying on the couch at about 1 a.m. with my girlfriend, watching The Village. Mildly scary movie for those who haven't seen it. We've just gotten asked a jump scare scene when I see in my peripheral vision a flashlight outside turn on, then immediately off, followed by the sound of our back door shutting. I look at my girlfriend and she nods to say she heard it too. Okay, time to soil my pants. I get up slowly, sneak to the doorway, and poke my head into the kitchen where our back door is. The only light in the kitchen is from the TV in the lounge, so I couldn't really see anything. I hunch down and creep into the kitchen, around the fridge to the left, and immediately stop, frozen. All I can see is the silhouette of a tall, thin human figure with its back towards me, facing the corner behind the dining table. It's totally still, not making a sound. What the hell am I supposed to do? I reckon I was frozen there for a whole minute, just staring at the figure. Eventually, I look back at the doorway to the lounge to see if my girlfriend has come into the kitchen, but she must have stayed on the couch. When I turn back to the figure, it's still there, but has turned around and is facing me now. I can see the silhouette and two dim, unblinking eyes. I scream and run into the lounge room, grab my girlfriend by the arm, and pull her into my bedroom. I've never moved so quickly in my life. We lock the door and jump behind the bed. I'm hyperventilating while my girlfriend is loudly asking me what the hell's going on. I keep telling her to shh, and finally she does. We just sat there listening for any sounds of movement for maybe 10 minutes. I pulled out my cell and called 911 so I'd calm down, saying that we had a break-in and I wasn't sure if he was armed. 5 minutes later, there's a knock on our front door, which is luckily across the corridor from my bedroom door, so I quickly dash out of my bedroom and out the front door hand in hand with my girlfriend. And there's nobody outside. We look around a bit and call out, expecting the cops to come around the corner or something, but there's just nothing. I lose my nerve, run back inside and into my bedroom again. An hour later, the cops showed up and shouted out to us from the front door, since we weren't opening it, searched our house and found nothing. To this day, I have no idea what the heck happened that night.